This week on Made in the Adirondacks, we're going to meet a guy who builds houses. Very small houses, that is. Hey Carter, how you doing?
Hey Aubrey, how are you?
Good to see you outside
Good to
the
see you.
station. I have to set this up for our viewers because Carter
Okay.
is an engineer at Mountain Lake PBS, and I always have him fix this, that, the other thing. You're ingenious with that stuff. I think I've even had him fix a couple of my bracelets on occasion.
Yes, I have.
But to see Carter come cruising in on his Harley to work and then to walk in his workshop and see a collection of fairy houses that he's made is truly something. So you got to tell me how you got started in this.
Well, it all began when my granddaughter came to me and said she wanted to have a fairy house for her porcelain fairy that she had gotten for a birthday. And I asked her, I said, fairy house, what are you talking about?
Right.
So at that point, she ran to the room and we went and got her little fairy house book.
So that's a
and
good resource for you.
we sat down in the living room and we started looking at some of these pictures, and she was saying little things how she wanted to do. Everything just basically give us a basic idea on how to start building a fairy house. More me than her because she knew what she wanted.
Right, exactly. So this is the very first fairy house.
This was the very first one. We worked on it together.
So what started out as Papa doing something nice and fun with his granddaughter
Right.
turned into a hobby.
A hobby because my wife took a couple of pictures to work, and the women at her workplace saw it and said, oh, I've got to have one for my daughter.
Right.
Went from a little project that I was doing with my granddaughter to a hobby to a business.
And look at what you've done. And look at how far they've come along since.
Yes, they have. They've gotten more elaborate. We learn as you go
Right, of course.
and tried different things. This is ornamental grass and, you know, a little window box where we didn't have one on
Right,
the first
and
one.
little shutters.
Little shutters.
This is really interesting. What is this, Carter? I want to ask.
This is grapevine.
Okay.
It's we have it all over the place in the woods around here, and I just go out and harvest the grapevine. I bring in coils of it and cut off pieces that I need and use them in different aspects.
So you were telling me earlier that fairies are like collectors of things.
Yes.
So you incorporate it. You try to get that thinking when you're actually building.
Exactly. And if you notice inside, I put a lot of little crystals and gems and chains and, you know, different little shiny trinkets that they may collect. Kids love them, adults love them.
These are
Everybody
fantastic.
seems to love them everywhere I go with them.
Well, let's see how you assemble these. Will you mind showing us?
Not a problem.
Okay, let's go take a look. So this one is in its raw stages.
Correct.
This is just the bark, you said, right?
This is the bark, which is actually, like I said, a byproduct of hauling in my firewood. This one here, there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of bark here that I've worked together.
To make it so it
exactly
shapes nicely.
In learning in the process, made them more dimensional so that you can look at more than just the front.
One
You
side
can
of
look
it.
at the side, you can look at the back.
Okay, so what do we got to do here?
Well, actually, like I said, I got this all roughed in here. I've learned through experience to do the inside
Before you put the roof on.
before I put the roof on. I learned the hard way because
Yeah,
you
I'm
end
sure.
up like trying to build a ship in a bottle.
Okay, what are we
So,
doing now?
Right now, I'm getting ready to put some spray glue in here so that I can glitz
So
the
this
walls.
is just
a
spray
little.
glue that you get where? At a craft store?
Local craft store. You could hand me
Great
some of
idea.
that glitter there.
Sure.
Just put a little bit in the palm of my hand and
Look
try
at
and
that.
blow a little bit in there. And I don't care if it
Nice.
gets down in here
No.
because it's all part of the ambiance of it
Absolutely.
anyways.
Hey, can we put like one of those arches on
Yes.
with a vine?
Yeah, I have
Because I really like those.
a piece here. We may have to cut this down a little bit more. And I just basically, I'll put a little bit of hot glue on the bottom of each one of those. Watch yourself.
Yeah.
And I get it where I want it. Now,
So we can kind of decorate her little house now?
yeah, we can start putting a couple
Okay,
little
what
pieces
can we put in there? I
Here.
saw this little table we have to use after. Okay.
Oh, definitely.
This is so cute. You made this.
Yes,
Can you
it's
see
nothing
this?
more than actually a piece of firewood with a little cookie cut off and then some twigs for legs.
And then you just put like a little, what is this?
It's just like an acorn shell, or walnut shell. It's been painted red.
And then just a little bit of flowers that
Little
you
bit
can
of
get at your local
flowers.
craft store.
Yep.
And you have a little table with a flower centerpiece.
And now with this piece here, I was planning on maybe putting a little shelf in the side as well.
Okay.
And we'll glue this on here, and then we could put maybe some
Is that like
berries.
a dried flower?
This is like a dried flower petal or something, probably a milkweed petal.
Okay.
I'm not sure where it's actually come out of a bag of potpourri.
That's what you were telling me.
Yep.
That's incredible. What a great idea.
So we can take a little bit of glue here, put that on the
for
bottom
shelf.
there.
We got to put some jewels or something in there.
They're collectors, and again, nothing has rhyme or real reason. It's just
Whatever looks good.
whatever.
Wherever your imagination can take you.
Exactly. So we might put in a couple of little pieces like that there, and we'll put a little bit of glue on this edge here.
And then just stick it on.
Hold it for a few seconds. Once the hot glue sets,
Okay.
then you can let it go and move on to the next.
You are now on to illuminating these, aren't you?
Yes,
Taking it
that's-
another step further.
I've taken it a step further. I did a couple already with the illumination, and they just seem to make all the work that you do inside come alive.
Right. So now do you have to like wire these up?
Actually, I buy these little kits. I get them from the craft store when they're on clearance, and they're nothing more. They look. There's a set right
Oh,
here.
look at this.
They're just a little set of
Oh my
lights.
goodness, look how teeny.
Yep. And
How
what I end
perfect are
up
they?
doing is I glue them inside, and they can be
Rotate.
focused anywhere you need them.
I didn't even know they made something that tiny.
Yep, they do. But I quickly noticed once I started doing these, they have a real hot light to them.
Right.
So what I ended up doing was taking a film I got and put the yellow on there, and it is tamed
So it
the
just
light.
takes it down a notch.
Yeah, I like to put them towards the front doors, aiming down and in. That way you don't see them when you're looking in.
Exactly.
So I find a location that I want to put them in, and again with
God
the
love
hot
that
glue.
hot glue gun.
Oh yes. And I'll hold them in there for a second.
And then you probably just hide the wire at some point.
Yep, I'll run the wire right around the top here, all the way
All
around.
around the rim. Good
So-
idea.